Now, as I've talked about in a number of these topics, I try to teach from a standpoint of kind of evidence-based, looking closely at what really good hitters do, and that kind of ability to analyze what good hitters do is a function of me understanding, as I say, simply aspects of how the body works in the context of swinging a bat. Over time, one of the things I started seeing more and more, kind of a big picture look at things, so to speak, are some of the basic movement patterns of non-elite hitters, young developing hitters, flawed hitters, some of the movement patterns that they have versus what big league hitters are doing. And in this case, I was trying to kind of make this relatively simple. So instead of trying to look at a whole bunch of different details, I was trying to see, okay, what are the basic problems with, non-elite hitters? Where are they going wrong a lot? And on the other side, what are good hitters doing? If you want to think in terms of kind of absolutes, to some extent, that's kind of what I was looking for. What do all good hitters consistently do? How are they going about moving in ways that, basically all elite hitters are doing? So, I came up with this notion of this slot and shift method or kind of movement pattern that non-elite hitters typically create. Basically, it's you're leading with your arms, so you're kind of dropping your arms, externally rotating his back elbow many times, kind of getting in this position. This is the first kind of movement. People are trying to get the bat hands more as they see it kind of on the plane of the pitch coming in. And to accommodate this kind of getting ready, rather than starting to rotate the hips are going to kind of be sliding. So in a sense, the hips can't really rotate at that point in this kind of pattern. If they did, you would be turned way open and leave the bat really far behind. Now, obviously, some people will kind of show evidence or signs of that. But typically, most people simply put, they don't know how to rotate, as I talk about elite hitters, they don't know how to rotate into foot plant. They're taking too long to transition from stride, shift, rotate. And many times, this is simply a function of a rational thought of I'm going to lead with the arms, get the arms going. The hips are going to accommodate that by kind of sliding and not getting into the rotation yet. On the other hand, big league hitters don't do that. They do something distinctly different. They know how to very, very quickly go from stride. If they stride, or if it's a no stride, they simply know how to drop the heel, get into the rotation as they're starting to drop the heel. So what that means is it's not drop the heel and then start turning. No, the rotation of the trunk is starting many, many times. Typical big league swing on a fastball. They know how to rotate into foot plant. Now, when you start looking at that, there's a number of aspects to that allow for that capability. So over time, I started seeing various components that were related to this ability to really initiate the swing really well. So this idea of sit and turn kind of is what I kind of formulated as the basic concept to try to explain this. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to go through the various components. I'll kind of break them down, talk about how they, each individual type of component, how they're related to each other, and ultimately how they fit to make for a really good unloading of the swing. In this particular example, this is going to be without regards to any kind of shoulder, arm, upper body kind of action. This is going to be focused on basically the hip area and the legs. And what I'm going to do is go through these components. I'm going to show these. I'm going to talk about these. I'm going to show aspects of how to practice. And I'm also going to show some of the basic flaws that people, when they start trying to practice some of this stuff, what happens? Well, what do you need to look for if you're trying to help somebody understand this stuff? What are you looking for in terms of how they're not quite executing it? So I'm going to try to show the good way to do it, and to some extent, kind of some of the bad ways, some of the flawed ways that people try to do it. So that's what this is going to be about, and I hope you guys like this.